Hello and welcome to Supreme Racing League F1 Season 5, and we're here in Russia today for round 4. Obviously the last race was pretty good. I won that one and was really chuffed with that. Quite a lot of pressure towards the end as well, so I wasn't, to be honest with you, that I wasn't riding away with confidence because I wasn't really getting to grips with Russia that well. Jack can fuck off. I wasn't really getting to grips with Russia that well, you know, first time around here with no line. It's very poor reference points, you know, it's just all tarmac and it sucks really. But you know, all us no racing line users in the same boat, so it's just get on with it essentially. But yeah, I wasn't feeling that confident. Car didn't feel brilliant, had a lot of understeer and then oversteer as well, so it's just the worst of both worlds really. But here we are, hoping for a top 5 on the grid really into quali. Now this is the first run on the ultras, and coming down to turn 1, it's important not to cut here, and we've pretty much done that very well. If anything, we could have taken a couple miles an hour more speed, but you run that risk of as soon as you cut it, that's your lap gone, and there's not a lot of time in the session, so you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself towards the end. So just leaving a little bit on the table, as you can see there. Leaving a little bit on the table because, as you know, this is the first run. Track improvement will come towards the end of the session. You're pretty much certain to go faster on your second run as long as you don't corner cut or cock it up. So this is just literally putting this time in, getting a feel for the cars. Stiggy sets a 1:36. He's obviously messed up on that one because Jamie Day does a 34.4. Anyway, in the middle sector now, you can see it's a pretty uneventful lap. Just hitting the apexes, getting good exits. We're a little slow there. Shimasi sits at 34.2. Into this last sector now, and this is really where I was struggling the whole time, because obviously I had understeer and I thought, right, okay, I'll put the ballast up, but then when you put the ballast up in this section you're just all over the place, so it's something that I need to work on for AOR on the 5th when we return from our 3-week break. But as you can see, the car's just understeer at the first part, oversteer on the second, so it's something I really need to look into, but unfortunately I didn't have time this week to really get used to it. There we go, there's the oversteer there. Tyres are cooked, and then massive understeer on the next corner. You know, it's like it's all over the place, so it's just something I got to work on now for AOR, and hopefully we can set the Sauber up a little bit nicer, because I know the Renault has inherent understeer anyway. So anyway, our first lap's 35.2, and that's pretty poor, I'll be honest with you. And the second off the mark is very poor. But on the second lap now, determined, you know, to do slightly better at least. Get a good exit of the final turn. We're already up half a tenth. Probably going to be close to a tenth by the time we get to turn 1. Max fuel mix, brand new tyres, end of the session, track's going nuts in terms of improvement, the grip's there. And here we go. Braking super late into turn 1. We actually take less speed through there than we did last time. You see the delta dropped. So again, not willing to cock it up on the first corner. We thought we'd gain speed in the last part of the lap. Here, braking super late again, turning a little bit early. You see the double turn in there, and then we just about kept all 4 wheels off the outside of the track. That was very nice, but again, that kick of oversteer at the end, you know, it's not very nice. Car's obviously not sitting quite nicely. Into here now, that's easy to cut, but we did quite well there. Up now by almost 2 tenths. A little bit too soon on the turn in, a little bit too much speed, a little bit wide there. You can get a lot from sort of cutting back early. Good run onto the back straight though, really nice, much better than last time, and you can see the times just coming. Here it comes, you know, 4 tenths. Picked up a good couple of tenths there. Coming to this sector now, you know, my worst sector. Trying to not overshoot, but then also trying not to cut that, and we've done that quite well. Trying to get the car back for this off camber, and it was it's all right. But you can see we've got a bit of a twitch there, and it's, you know, it's not really sitting quite nicely. Not a lot of confidence here. I actually did quite well here this time. You know, the car sat quite nicely, except for that small kick of oversteer in the end. So we're up by a second now. At this point, you just want to not cut, and we've gone a bit slow into there, and then braked a little bit early here too. And that's the end of the lap. 33.9, I mean, it's there's easily half a second in there, but there wasn't a 33 flat. You know, Skeven has absolutely driven the wheels off that Ferrari. He's look at, blown everyone away. Quite something, that is. Quite an incredible lap. But here we go, 5 red lights. Lights out, away we go, and the second phase of the launch is far better than Skeven's, and we've completely jumped him going down to turn 1. A really nice launch there, really controlled the wheel spin nicely, and that was it. So into P1, after seeing Skeven's quali lap, we knew that he obviously had more pace than us, and it was if we were going to battle him, it was going to be really, really tough, and just a case of opportunistic moves and possibly utilising an undercut. So the strategy is to pit lap 11, but maybe if I pitted lap 10 I could pull out a little bit of a lead, and then he'll have to catch up to that. And of course there's the dirty air and the slipstream glitch, and you know, all those things can come into effect to try and keep me ahead. But at this point, so I'm trying to think about that, knowing that he's so fast. I know the pressure's on, so I've kept it in rich, and I'm just literally just pushing as hard as I can on this first lap to try and build some sort of a gap, so that when DRS comes around he's not just all over me. The car's sitting quite nicely on heavy fuel though. The setup isn't, maybe it isn't a quali setup, but in the race, especially on the heavy fuel right now, it feels alright. It doesn't feel fast, but it feels stable, and it feels alright. But I think we possibly need to have a bit more on the nose, as you can see here, just waiting for the front end to come back, and you just feel so stiff, even though the front end's quite soft. I've softened it. It just feels so stiff, there's no bite, you know. There it goes, and it runs wide, and it's even so much tighter there. I've had to slow the mid-corner apex speed, because otherwise he's just dug back underneath. But trying to get a good exit onto the straight, almost cut that, and he's almost crashing into us. You know, we're so slow at the moment. We're just rattled, but we've even to get this exit, when it was alright. That was not too bad of an exit. We didn't bog down, and I thought, oh, okay, I'm good with this gap. It's not too bad, 4/10. But you know, DRS not being enabled is pretty easy to defend. But here he comes. Good God, flying up towards me. He's gone to the outside. I've defended the inside. I braked pretty much as late as I could, and he's managed to go right the way around the outside. I mean, he's just made a fool of me there. Just released the brake at the end part of the corner. I took a nice wide line, and unfortunately I couldn't cover it off. It was too late when I noticed. So we decided to go straight back up the inside, and we couldn't pull it off in the end, but Skeevan left room, which is great. But he's slow off the corner. We've got a bit of a slipstream here. Straight back up the inside again for this right-hander. Wheel to barge board. You couldn't put a fag paper between us. Look at that. We're right next to each other. Know exactly where each other are. And at this corner, unfortunately, Skeevan runs wide. Comes back on track.
Oh, you are joking me, Skeevan.
So this is the slow-mo version. You can see that as we approach the braking zone, I get ahead. See the positions change there, and as we get to this point, Skeevan just applies the throttle, runs wide. As he comes back on, I move to let him back on track, but as he comes back on track, he just smashes into me, and that's the broken wing, unfortunately.
What?
Unfortunately,
what?
Sometimes that's the way it goes. I know now that I've got to pit. There's nothing I can do. Obviously, the contact wasn't intentional, but it just comes from running wide, really. And I'm a bit rattled. I know I'm trying to work out another strategy now, and I missed my braking point down here by about 50 metres and almost wipe out Shimasi. Here we go. Oh, and we release the brake, run at the inside, smash into the wall. That was the only option, really, because if we continued straight on, we'd have just smashed Shimasi off the track, and it's not worth it. I knew I was going to change my wing anyway, so I was like, right, that's the only place I can go. Shot down the inside, release the brake, hit that wall. Then that was that. You know, that's pretty much the end of our race. I can tell you that I continued in the race, and in the end I got P8, which was second to last, because I made 2 stops. I really should have gone super softs only and then carried on to the end, but at this point, Jeff, shut the fuck up, mate.
Oh my days.
Let me change everything and let's go in the pits. But the footage didn't save after this, because I wanted to make sure I had this part, and then it didn't continue to recording after this, so that's all I've got.
It's not on, Skeevan, it's not on.
I will be putting that into the stewards, and I just, obviously things like that aren't intentional, but when it ruins your race like that, it's a bit naff. But I know he's not that kind of driver, because we battled so hard in Bahrain, so you know what I mean. It's these things happen. Unfortunately, it ended up, I had gone to pit anyway. I was going to have to go on a 2-stop regardless of whether I had to avoid a Shimasi or not. So you know, I was due a bad race anyway. So well, thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully we'll do better on next Sunday in AOR.